So, hey everybody. Uh, as you know, I am the Wolfman, and this is Rabbit Trails. The craziest shit just happened, and I'm like, my mind's blown. Uh, Hang on a second, let me grab my drink. Non alcoholic. For once. Okay, so I don't want to bury the lead. The cops just left. That's it. I met this girl. Let's call her. Normally, I would say let's call her Sue, because it's a pretty generic name. But I've actually dated a Sue, and it wasn't Sue. Sue was a good girl. I was young, and I got bored with a perfectly good woman, and I don't know what happened to her, but I hope she's happy. 'Cause whatever. Anyways, not Sue. How about Jane? Like Jane Doe. I don't know any Janes, I don't think. So let's call her Jane. I met this girl named Jane for the sake of this story, and she was really cool. And I've known her for years now. It's been long distance mostly, it's been over the phone and whatnot. I met her at a drum gathering. It's basically like a convention. They hold it's Paralounge. By the way, if you've never been, it's like $80. It's 3 days of camping and a bunch of free workshops to teach you how to play like hand drums. And djembe is the main thing. It's just kind of like a bongo. If you don't know drums, if you saw it, you'd say, "Oh, it's a bongo." If you don't know drums, it's a djembe. It's like an African bongo. That's the main thing. Like they got the djembes and the or is it djembe? I don't know. I'm not an expert. I've been to like 2 or 3 of these things. There's really fun. It's really fun to get in a circle with like 100 people and just slap the piss out of a drum. I don't know. I'm not great at it, but it doesn't matter because there's so much drumming going on that you can't miss. Like when you get enough people drumming and a rhythm develops, you don't have to be good. Like if you have any rhythm at all, you can jump in and like I'm playing the bongo. It doesn't matter. It's great. It's like you get to be part of it, and sometimes it turns out to be really cool. And like, but anyways, this is a prime example of why the thing is called Rabbit Trails, because that's how I tell the story. I met her at a drum gathering. Focus. I met her at a drum gathering, and she was living at this campground. She had some kind of a job there, and it came with a room, I guess, or she had some kind of a situation. I thought it was really cool. I like people that live alternative lifestyles for like people that find a way to live that doesn't involve a lease or a mortgage, not like living under a bridge, but like if you find a way to like get your needs met without like having a 9-to-5 job, and like if you still are like you get a roof over your head, you got food, you got what, like you got a phone, you manage to do all this without having a job and a lease or a mortgage. I think that's really fucking cool when people manage to do that. It takes creativity. It's like a little niche thing, and I think it's really cool. So instantly I was like, oh, this is cool. And she had just like this. I'm gonna go a little bit. I shouldn't apologize for my beliefs, but I'm gonna go a little bit hoo-hoo on you for a second. She had this fucking energy that you could feel. You'd stand next to her, and it was like standing next to a blast furnace. There's just this energy coming off of her, and like it was really cool. So I met her. We talked a bit, at the drum gathering. We exchanged, information. Um, I emailed her and stuff, and I didn't hear from her for a long time. And then, she popped up. We were talking on the phone and stuff, texting back and forth. We went to a second drum gathering where she choreographed this dance. Uh, and we like we weren't on the roster or whatever. We were just at the drum gathering, and she like goes up to the organizer of the drum gathering and is like, "Hey, we prepared a dance and we'd like to do it." And like I'm an introvert and I've got terrible stage fright. First time I sang karaoke, I literally whited out on stage. Like it's a miracle I didn't pass out and fall over. But fortunately, I'm also a bit of an adrenaline junkie. So like I come off like an extrovert sometimes. I'm not an extrovert. I'm an introvert and an adrenaline junkie. And so like I like the fear. It's a thrill. Anyways, so she taught me this dance. We did this crazy dance with like all these people drumming, and like it was a big hit. We got like invited to like hang out with all these people, and so it was like if the 200 people at the drum gathering were all the people in the world, I'd have been the most famous person in the world, if that makes sense. So it was like a little. It felt, well. It's probably the closest thing I'm ever gonna be famous. Like it felt. It was like the first time that I like had done anything more than karaoke, and it was eye opening for me. I was like, oh, this is cool. Like this is, like I can dance. Like I've always been like I can't dance, but it turns out I can. Like whatever. It was cool. It was really cool. So like everything up to that was fucking fantastic. Like I like personal growth. Like she was good for me. What could possibly go wrong, right? So then, so at that point in the story, like a year has gone by, like exactly a year, because it was the same, annual drum gathering. The Para Lounge does two. They do Para Lounge twice a year, at the same time every year, and then they do this thing called circulation, which I have been to the first two. I met her at the first one, and then the second one was where we did this dance, and it's kind of a spiritual thing. Like if you're not into, like, fucking astrology and crystals and basically if you vaccinate your kids, you probably shouldn't go because like science. No, I'm kidding. Like people. That was a dumb joke. I believe in vaccinations. Just putting that out there, but they do exist. I should have stayed away from vaccinations altogether. I'd like to retract my opinion on vaccinations. So can we edit that out? The fuck was I? Rabbit trails. Right. So like the Para Lounge ones, like if you want to learn about drumming, go to the Para Lounge ones, and everybody keeps their spiritual beliefs to themselves. But the circulations, you believe in magic, you come to circulation. If you don't believe in magic, like that's, we love you, but this isn't for you. This is for people who believe in magic. So I met her at this one. And I guess if you don't believe in magic, you're like, oh, so she's insane and so are you. Why are you surprised that this happened? Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. I'll admit that I'm nuts. She will not. She's very offended. Jane gets terribly upset if I tell her that she's crazy. Which I guess is also fair. A lot of people get upset if you call them crazy. Right. So year goes by, everything's great. Wow, it's been since January. I think the thing happens in February. It's been almost 2 years exactly now. About 8-9 months ago, maybe. We'd been talking, and I invited her out to my house, which she had been to before. And she got there, she wigged out. We cleaned it and did things to cat proof it for her cat, who is a really cool cat, by the way. I like the cat. I'm gonna miss the cat. It's a cool cat. And protect his identity as well. I won't be saying his name on the video, but let's just say that a lot of people would think his name was Zelda if they were playing his video game. Anyway, cool cat, gray cat, real vocal, but also like doesn't fuck with you while you're sleeping and stuff. He's cool. Not the point. Not the point. She's like, oh, my cat's gonna die. Your house is a health hazard. Like, I've been living here for 4 years. I'm still alive. We got small dogs. They're fine. Whatever. So she wigs out. She leaves. She blocks me and fucking ghosts. And I was heartbroken. Like, I was upset. I wrote songs. I wrote like 3 or 4 songs about it. That's how upset I was. And then, you know, life goes on. Life goes on. And I didn't like my job in Florida, so I was like, fuck it. You know, like, I don't like my job. My house is paid off. You know, I've got good friends, but they're busy. I don't have that many of them. I don't see them that often. I love them, and I believe that there's a few people in Florida that love me, but you know, none of them are ever at my house. So I threw a party. I called it a long-expected party, like from Tolkien. And I toyed with the idea of not telling anybody I was leaving, but because that would have been really cool. It's like, have this big party, anybody shows up, I'll be like, hey, fucking, I'm going to Arizona tomorrow, which is basically what I did. Of course, you know, they came and repoed my truck while I was at the party, because apparently when they said you were not, if they wouldn't do anything unless you were 90 days behind, they didn't mention that if you made payments but you stayed 60 days behind, they were still gonna send the repo man. So that's my fault for not reading the fine print, but they came back and they took the truck. So I was kind of like, oh great, and I threw all my stuff in a U-Haul and drove across the country from Florida to Arizona. Like, I don't know how I'm gonna get to work after I turn this U-Haul in, but I figured it out. Turns out Uber works fine in Arizona. In Tucson anyways, the Uber is fairly reliable, so worst case I can Uber if I can't catch a ride or whatever, till I, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's not the point of the story. I'm out here in Arizona, and wouldn't you know it, my phone rings and it's Stormy, and she's back, and I'm ecstatic. I'm over the fucking moon. I'm so happy. This love of my life, right? You know, we literally had 5-hour phone conversations on a regular basis. You think you know a person. So yeah, she's like talking about what's gone on with her, and apparently her story is that she went home and her mom was being a psycho, and so she couldn't. Oh, I said her fucking name. I mean Jane. It was Jane. It was Jane that called. Whoops. It's not her real name anyway. It's not her legal. Well, she'll tell you it's her real name. Where are the red flags here? The person's got a fake name that she goes by, and she says, "Oh, don't call me by my other name. It's not my, you know, don't call me by my slave name. Call me Stormy, the name that I've chosen." And I didn't know she was a crazy person at this point. Well, she was very adamant about not being a crazy person, and I liked her. I guess I knew she was crazy, but I didn't think it was the bad kind. I thought it was the okay kind of crazy. Like me, I'm crazy, but I will never call the police on you. Fucking guarantee it. Like if we get in a fight and I can't handle it, I'm gonna die because I'm not calling the police. Like I won't. Don't need them. Don't want them. Don't need them. I don't care what you're doing. I'm not calling the police. It's not. It's not gonna happen. I don't think it helps, for the most part. Anyway, but that's probably crazy too. It's probably the same person would probably call the police in the right circumstances. Not me. It'd be people beating on my door with machetes in their hands, and I'm not calling them. Anyways, not the point. Rabbit trails, right? So she's crazy, but I love her. At this point in the story, I'm over that now. Believe you me. Kind of dodged a bullet in a way. I think it grazed me a little bit. I was grazed. Like I sort of dodged it. Like it was aimed at my heart, but it grazed me. The overuse of metaphor. I'm a little jacked up right now. On like I haven't even finished my first energy drink for the day, and I've been bad with my shift schedule. I've been drinking like 2 to 3 energy drinks a day, so like I'm really jacked up. It's definitely adrenaline because I have less than half an energy drink in me right now, and so this is not caffeine. Today's show brought to you by Fight or Flight Response, which is fight in my case, but you can't listen to your body when the police are in the room, okay? Your body says fight. No, don't fight the police. There's more of them than you. It's a bad idea. Don't fight the police unless you're prepared to get your ass beat, killed, and go to prison, at least. That would be my advice. But I'm fucking crazy, so who knows? Don't listen to me, but for entertainment only. Don't listen to me for advice. I'm nuts. Where was I? Right. Okay. Right. Oh, yes, we were at the high point of the story. She calls me up. I'm like, oh, I'm dancing around. I'm like, I'm in love, and I don't care who knows it. Like Martin Short from fucking whatever that Clifford movie is. And just I'm over the moon. So happy. So we're talking and stuff. She tells me that like her mom was being a psycho, and she left with this person, took all of her stuff from her mom's house and left with this person. By the way, this lady's 26, okay? Like, I'm 33, so she's a little young. But I mean, she's 26, so she's supposed to have her full, her frontal lobe is fully developed. She's not a child. I feel like 26 is not too young for me. That's kind of like, if you're under 26, you better be pretty special. Because I'm too old to be dating children. I thought she was a woman. 26 years old. She's an adult as far as I'm concerned. She's not retarded as far as I know. So she's very intelligent. She's just out of her damn mind. Crazy like a fox. Yeah, man. So she tells me that she's the victim of her mother, and of course I didn't see it that way. Like, I never got her mom's side of the story, but like, man, people have crazy parents. Like, that's a thing that happens. So she goes with this person, and this person lied to her, told her that she was going to have this place for at least a year that she could stay at. So she went there. It was all, what she was sold was not what she received. And then there were these people there. It wasn't even the person that picked her up. These people that she was staying with, and it was a toxic environment, and the dad was abusive to the children and the wife, and everybody like thought that it was okay, and it was this horrible situation. So she left there. Now, at the point where we started talking, she was at these people. Let's call them the Ravens. We could pretend that that's their last name. She's living with these people called the Ravens, and that's Mr. Raven, Mrs. Raven, and the two children. I don't know how old the siblings were, but the son and daughter Raven living there. She's living with them with all of her art supplies that she hauled out of her mother's house, and apparently it's not a good situation, and so she decides to leave. And as far as I understand, they basically bought her a truck, and at the point where we started talking, she was still living with them. She was talking to me, and they basically bought her a truck under the understanding that she was going to pay them back. And then she created a scene and she left. And now she's never going to pay them back. But they, it's in her name, so whatever. And I was like, well, I mean, if they were bad people and they chased you out and called the cops on you, like, you gonna go out of your way to pay them back? Right? Because I'm a fucking idiot. I'm a sucker for a girl with a sad story. Seeing this now, you're witnessing me becoming aware of how retarded I was to believe this as I tell the story. So they buy her a truck because they're horrible people, and then they chase her out and call the cops on her. She leaves. She's living in a park in her truck. And during the daytime, she's hanging out at the park, and then at night, I guess she's packing up her hammock and going to like the Walmart parking lot or some shit. I don't know, she's got this weird situation going on. And I'm like, hey man, I got a house in Florida. It's not being used. You want to stay there, I'll turn the power back on. She doesn't spend that much on power. Like, I can do this for her. I think, because remember the dance, right? Like, she opened me up. She like I had this blockage that I thought that I couldn't perform. Deep-seated shit, like serious, like from, I don't even want to get into what it's from, but like from some shit that went down when I was a kid, made me think that I couldn't perform. And it was one of those things that was so deep that I didn't even know that I thought I couldn't perform. It was just like oh, water's wet, like the earth is solid beneath my feet, and I can't perform. But these are all things that I don't think about. So like if water wasn't really wet and she could see that and she explained it to me, that's the kind of thing that she did for me when it comes to performance. Like, she opened my fucking world up with this. Like, so it was amazing. So then on the heels of that, like, of course I believe her. Like, look how I've benefited from this. Like, I'm a loyal person. Like, once I decide that you're my people, and like I'm your friend, then you get the full, benefit. You get benefit of the doubt. You get protection. You get support. You get whatever I can afford to give you without sinking my own ship. You got it. If you've had my back, if you've done something amazing like that for me, if you're, like, I got a couple of friends who bailed me out of jail. The last time that I fucking fell for a crazy bitch and she called the cops on me when she was mad and she was leaving and fucking made some shit up, and I ended up in jail for a couple of days. And I'm such a fucking psycho, libertarian, anarchist, whatever you want to call it. I don't believe in telling people what to do. My politics are freedom, basically, and I believe in freedom. Like, I think laws are dumb. I don't think there should be any. And I understand that that's not a popular opinion, and most people, want there to be some laws, and that's fine, I suppose, that people want that. And the thing about the way I believe is that, like, I can't overthrow the government. I can't attempt to overthrow the government, because that would be an act of me imposing my will on somebody else. You guys want to have your government and do what you want to do. Like, I can't become the thing that I don't like in order to destroy it. That doesn't work. It's no good. So, I believe in anarchy, but I can't make it happen. My hands are tied by my integrity when it comes to that. Rabbit trails. So I'm in jail. This is years back. My ex-wife. I'm in jail. And I'm like, I'm in the tank where they've got a phone with a list of like bail bondsmen and lawyers, numbers next to it. And I'm so retarded that like it doesn't even cross my mind to call a bail bondsman. I'm mad, and they don't tell me why they're putting me in there. They assume, like, when you're in Florida and you go to jail, they assume that you've been before, which is usually probably true, because most people in Florida have been to jail, and that is a statement about the government of the state of Florida, not about the people. Florida man's real. I think I left before I became Florida man, but maybe not. Maybe not completely. There's definitely people that are more Florida man than me, but I might have scratched the surface. There might be. I'm probably gonna have some Florida man moments for the rest of my life. It's like herpes. It's never gonna go away. I'll have outbreaks. Occasionally, I'll have some Florida man outbreaks. Hit people with gators or, whatever. I think that's the main thing that Florida man does is he assaults people with non-conventional weapons that are sometimes alive. Anyway, I'm in the tank, and instead of using the using the payphone to call a bail bondsman, I'm punching the cinder block walls, and I'm like, I'm an American citizen who hasn't been convicted of a crime, and I'm in a cage. This is bullshit. It's unconstitutional. Jail shouldn't exist. I'm just railing against the government like a crazy person, just like screaming at the top of my lungs and punching brick walls. Real smart. I didn't break my hand or anything. I got pretty good hands. I got good bones, fortunately. Thanks. But also, I wasn't punching it. Like, even when I'm losing my mind, I don't ever punch anything hard enough to break anything or hurt myself. Like, I find something that can handle a punch, and I'll punch it sometimes. And I do it when I'm by myself, so it's not, like, intimidating anybody. But, like, I'll go by myself. Like, preferably a punching bag. I'd like to have a punch. They don't give you a punching bag when they take you to prison. So, jail. Excuse me. I've never been to prison, but I have been to jail. And I almost went again today. But I dodged that bullet. So let's go back. So I'm in the Columbia County jail. In the tank, I guess, or whatever. It's this holding cell before they put you in your actual thing. And I'm screaming and I'm punching it. And then they come to collect me after. They leave me in there for a while, not telling me what's going on. They come to collect me after a while. And they, handcuff me, pull me out. And they're like, what were you yelling about in there? And literally just like that, the cop. He's not a cop. The screw. The CO, the jail guy, the guard there, he's like, what were you yelling about in there? Just like that. And I was like, man, like I like my whole face. I just like let my whole face just droop, just like fucking whatever. Just like I'm done. I'm like, man, it's been a long fucking day. It's like 8 o'clock in the morning. Uh, and he's like, all right, I'm gonna need you to stay calm. And I was like, well, you know, like I have a prescription for Adderall, and I've been taking Adderall every day, and I haven't had my meds, and I'm withdrawing. It's gonna be hard for me to stay calm. He's like, well, I'm gonna need you to stay calm. We'll get you to the doc on Monday. And I was like, I'll try. No promises. And I don't know if they warned people about me beforehand or if they could just see it in my face. But I was only in there for like 2 days, and I was like, in my head, I had this. It's the first time I've ever been in jail, and I've heard my brother's stories from when he was in the brig, in the Marine Corps jail, talking about like some shit went down, some like, you know, pecking order prison shit, you know. Which I assume prison is worse than jail when it comes to that. Most people, I don't know, maybe most people in jail don't want to like, most people in jail still think they might not go to prison, I guess. Like there's still a chance you're not going to prison if you're in jail. So people are probably on better behavior, not want to get in trouble. But, yeah, everybody like gave me a wide berth. Like I don't know if I like look like I'm gonna stab you by head into my head. I was like, anybody fucks with me, I'm gonna kill him. Like I don't know if that was true or not, but that's what I was thinking. Like, hey, if anybody fucks with me, I'm gonna kill him on the spot. I was not